How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation, time to get that imagination all revved up, get creative, and it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Reynan Sanchez. And if you're not familiar with his work, check right over here. He is a phenomenal illustrator and artist, and I just love his work. He's got a very unique style that plays off of, I feel like there's a lot of frazetta in there, a lot of Korean stylings even in his work, and it's just beautiful stuff. He's got such a great illustrative and high, almost sketch quality to his work, but then he blends it with this almost kind of matte feel to the way that he paints. That reminds me kind of the Mike Mignola. I hope I'm saying that name right. I forget always if I'm pronouncing it right, but the wonderful artist behind Hellboy. There almost seems like some really flatted colors that he does there too. But I just love. He's got great line work and great anatomy, really interesting posing. He lays out the whole shot very interestingly. You see the very playfulness throughout here, so you really focus the eye throughout the piece here as well, and just very interesting and imaginative characters as well. So definitely check out more of his work. I think he's phenomenal. I only discovered him a few days ago, and I just really love his stuff for sure. So this was great. I love the God of War series, and this was a great tribute to that as well. And this is some Akira. Like I said, every piece you could just gaze at and look at all the detail that he puts into each piece, and wonderful lighting that he gets in there. It's just beautiful. But I want to share a quote with you guys from him as well. It's I'm not really sure what goes in my head having those kind of ideas, although it seems to me that it looks really cool, and I guess the whole concept is quite unique in some ways, so I give it a try, and then I end up creating something like this. And I believe he was saying that when he was discussing this piece, if I remember correctly, and I thought that was interesting. Again, it's kind of a little bit different of a quote than we usually do, but I think you have to try and make stuff unique. We talk about this a lot, and infusing your personality in there and your imagination and stuff that really to just try to almost empty your head of your influences and the things around you, to really go to those places of individuality that and those experiences that you personally have had that no one else is, and to not just be like, well, this is the style that this person uses and this is the style that that person uses, but use those as like stepping stones or building blocks to help you make something creative and imaginative that's distinctly your own and your own stylings. And I think he does that well. He really pulls on a lot of foundational stuff from other artists that have come before him that are wonderful, but he really has his own unique way of rendering images, and I think it's phenomenal. And I thought that was an interesting point to talk about, again, of kind of reiterating something that we've talked about before, of kind of working from the building blocks and understanding the fundamentals and the basics, and then once you've got those down pretty well, which is probably going to be 5 years, 10 years, however long you're looking at it. They say it's that 10,000 hours for however quick or slowly you punch that in, which I don't know that I adhere to exactly that, but there's some truth to that principle. And once you've hit that, then it's about just almost forgetting all of that stuff and letting that go into the subconscious, and then acting on the things that you think and dream and experience and feel, and those times of your life, or the project that you're like, oh, I've always wanted to do this ever since I was a little kid, and all that kind of stuff, and pulling that in and then infusing all that stuff in there. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into some animation. This is the Ball King rig. It's a free rig you can grab over at Creative Crash, and if you're not familiar with what we'll be doing for the rest of the video, we give ourselves 48 frames, 2 seconds of animation. I go off and I find a rig that I've never used before. It's a free resource for you guys to play around with as well. I always throw a link in the description below if you guys want to download it and try it out yourself. And I would kind of just go from there. A little bit of over the shoulder, just hang out with me while I animate. A little bit of talking through the process, And most of all, the goal with doing these videos is to hopefully encourage you guys and inspire you guys to go off and create something that's uniquely yours and gets your personality and your spirit out there, and is really creative and just using your skills and your abilities to share with the world. So that being said, let's go ahead and delve in here. So what I was thinking for this one is we do a little reach animation here. So let's build a base here, and let's also squash it in a little bit more, and do something like that, and kind of zero it out here, not in Y, there, just so it's pretty even, and we'll have him just reach up to the next one. Reaching up for the next platform. So let's get in a starting pose. Let's go kind of relaxed here. So let's bring the arms down. And this is a very interesting stylized rig. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it yet, but I think it's definitely an interesting choice here. And let's go ahead and tip that up so you can get the eyes looking up here at it. Arms down, hang them down, back. Let's go push that forward a little bit more. Relax it a little bit. Relax that arm a little bit there. There. And I think we'll make this one a little more straight. So we can definitely sell that he's looking up at it. And let's see. See if we get a little bit of drop down, kind of use it like a shoulder controller. We don't want to disconnect it though. And I am going to use FK arms for this one because I just want to do a little bit of reaching here. And let's look at the hands. Let's relax those a little bit. And we'll spread this one in a little bit more here. Relax the fingers a little bit more as well. So always kind of, usually in most relaxed poses, hand poses, usually have a little bit of, you don't usually keep them straight. That's, when you're looking at really straight things that's never really relaxed, you have to force your hand to do this because it uses muscles to keep them straight. So usually with relaxed hand poses, you want to just do a little bit of, not a lot, but a little bit of curl because it's more comfortable. And of course, you guys probably know that because you've been living with hands as human beings for many a year. But it's just something to think about that maybe you hadn't thought about as well. And let's do a little bit more there. And let's see. Keep that one a little bit straighter. Just looks more relaxed than that hand pose there, and let's drop that thumb here. And okay, something like that. Let's look at the other hand on this side here, and let's put that in. There, leave a little, we got the grouping kind of those two fingers there. Let's look at the thumb here. And if we'll avoid that one, let's just right here. more broken than the other one, unfortunately. But at least we can get something there. We'll do something a little more like that, just to vary it up a little bit. Dip that down. Let's go ahead and feel like he should have a little bit of pigeon-toedness to this guy. So we'll do a little bit there. And let's push him out a little bit as well. Try to make him a little more relaxed here. Maybe we'll drop that a little bit more here as well. Just angle it a little bit, just so we have a little bit. Okay, so we got him looking up at it, and we're going to want to reach to get up there. So, what do we have here? It's funky. I wonder how I got that. Okay, so let's go ahead and save our file. We are using Autodesk Maya 2014 for today's video. Let's turn our grid off. Let's give ourselves 48 frames. So go from 0 to 48. And let's go ahead and grab everything. Go to frame 0. And we'll set our first key. And then we'll go down a little bit here. Do a little bit of rotate that way. A little bit back. This is kind of that anticipation here. Bring those arms forward a little bit. Bring that arm forward a little bit. And let's go down a little bit more. We'll rotate here. I'll push it over a little bit. Down a little bit. Just kind of giving us somewhere to go. This. Okay, and we'll go ahead and grab everything here and we'll set that. It's not great. Keep that arm in a little bit more. Let's flick between the two keys. And now let's push that arm back in a little bit more. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Again, we'll go in and key that. Now let's do our stretch up. And let's see if we can't get some ball roll on here. Let's swing the arms up. Yeah, the arms up again here. Rotate Z. We'll take that and zero that out. Let's see. Okay, and then we want to rotate that at X, so it's reaching towards it. Rotate that at X. Go a little bit more that way. And let's go a little bit more forward. I think we'll drop this down a little bit here as well, so it looks like he's getting a little bit closer to it. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a back step here. Forward move there, and rotate it. Ooh, maybe we can't do too much rotate Y here. Maybe we'll keep this one where it was. I'll do a little bit of roll on it. Let's see. Again, we're just kind of doing a rough pass right here, locking in some of our poses, and then we'll get into tweaking some stuff as we get along. Let's straighten those fingers out, really make them as straight out as we can, and maybe even push it a little bit more so they're really reaching. Let's straighten that out as much as we can. We'll do a little bit of up and forward. Let's watch it now. Okay, so let's go ahead and get a better hand pose on this one. We'll also do a little bit of rotate this hand over here. We'll do a little bit of rotate in X as well, see if we can do that. I'll put that in the right frame though. Always good to make sure that you're keying stuff on the right frame. Okay, and then do some rotate here. I feel like it needs to go forward more here. And let's do the fingers as well. Overstretch those. Bring that forward. Go ahead and spread that one in here. Down. We'll go ahead and bring this one back a little bit more. Okay, that's pretty good. Looks like he's reaching there. So I'll go ahead and grab everything here at 20. We'll go ahead and set our key. And then lastly, I'm going to put in that last main pose that we really want to hit. And roll down on there. And we'll make it kind of a defeated pose. So he's going to hang his head because he's defeated. too bad there's not a twist, so we could twist those together a little bit more, but that's okay. Let's look at the other hand. I'll find a pose to start with that's kind of similar to where we had it starting. Shouldn't I do a little bit of curl in those fingers to start with? I guess not. Let's do a little bit here. Yeah, let's push that middle one out a little bit more. Okay, now we can have somewhere to go from there. Delete that. Go to, that's wrong, and then we'll find it. Just gives us starting pose for our starting place for our ending pose. And let's push that back a little bit more. Forward a little bit. Let's turn a rotation at 0. Rotate that way, bring it back. Okay, looks fairly defeated. I think we could probably throw a little bit of rotate X on this side too, just so you can get a little bit of that bend in that elbow there. We'll drop that hand down a little bit more. There we go. Now let's drop the shoulders down here too. And down here a little more too. Okay, so with a real rough posing pass, and again we're going to tweak up our timing, we're going to do everything, but let's see how it looks right now. So we got just our 4 main storytelling keys here. Let's see. And this is why timing and spacing is important. So we got the idea going, which is good. That's a big part of it. But we got to be careful. Because what was the thing? One of the great teachers I studied under, who I don't remember which one it was, always told me that Maya is a crappy in-betweener. So don't ever let it do too much for you. It's good at finding an even spot in between there, but that's not good for animation. So let's start breaking this down. We'll go ahead and save where we're at, and let's open our graph editor. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of give us a little bit better timing to start with. So what I want to do is I want to hold the beginning a little bit more. Let's see, something like that. Take 24 to 26 and hold that a little bit more. We're going to go back to like a 21 there. So there's a little bit of bounce. And then go down. Okay, so let's see. Alright, now we'll probably need to cut a couple of frames from the beginning here to give us a couple of frames at the end, and I think probably give us about 6 more frames for this shot as well. And then put it back to about 54 frames. Let's set that and set that. And again, this is pretty much still rough. This is like a rough timing pass here. So we've got a rough posing and a rough timing, and then we'll go in and break everything down once we kind of get that nailed in. And then we need to hold from there to there for about 3 frames, which means we're going to have to probably go about 60 frames for this thing. ease out of that pose a little bit more. And then give me about 3 more frames there. Okay, so let's look at that now. It should be just about right. One thing that's really distracting me is the eyes, so let's keep those up to about 46. Then we can drop them down. Okay, so first thing I want to do is play around with the hips, because those are one of the most important parts. And actually, before I do that, I think I want to mix up this beginning part a little bit more. I'm going to take about 2 and hold that to about 6. And hold from, give a couple more frames of hold there. Let's see. It's a little too posy, so I'm kind of going a little bit more in between there. So let's see. Okay, give me 1 more frame there, 1 more frame there. Delete that. Here, we'll let it go from there to there. We'll delete that pose. Okay, no, I like that one. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Let's look at it now. Let's look at the arms. Have them be swinging forward a little bit more. We're going to do each one individually. Okay, let's set that about there. I want to hold them for another frame or 2 there. So the hips kind of lead a little bit more. Okay, let's approach them both each individually here. 2 more frames of that. And then we could do one less frame in between here. That forward a frame. Just to vary the timing a little more. Alright, so let's just focus on the hips for a while and then we'll get into everything else as we go. Kind of clean them up a little bit here, hold them a little more where we need to. Let's look at the translate Ys here. Down even more there. Pop up a little bit more. Go down a little bit more there. Let's see. And I think we probably need to go back to it. 66, let's see. Maybe we'll hold this for about 2 more frames. And we'll delay that to about 60. I'm trying to keep the eyes here focused. Leg in there, just like that. Set there, hold up to there, go down a little bit, go back up. Back there. Bring it down. Okay, let's look at the eyes now. Still keep them down a little more there. Probably shouldn't be doing this just yet, just because I haven't really locked in all of stuff on the hips yet, but it was distracting me, so there you go. Okay, and let's look at the arms. Let's go ahead and, yeah, we'll start with the top here. Go a little bit more of an overshoot there. Okay, and then we'll break it out by the here, then we'll drag it back there again, and then go there. Okay, so let's look at that now. Oh, I think we need to break it more as it swings up. So maybe one frame later, and break it more. And we could push that back a frame and push it down. Let's see that. It's got a little bit of too much something there. And then we'll break that a little bit more. And this one's probably a little too much, so I'll tone that down a little bit more. And then for this one, let's go key that, key it there. And we'll go and do a little bit of a lift on the, come on, just this one foot. Why is it, let me grab it, there we go. Set that, I want that, go ahead and delete this one. Keep the roll 0, lift it up. Okay, it's too slow, so let's cut a couple frames out. We'll hold that initial pose a little bit longer. And I'll rotate that down. And let's just go one frame less than that and 2 frames sooner, so it's just a little move. Let's do a little bit of roll down. And keep it on the floor. There's a little bit of slippage or something there on that foot. Actually, what do we have here? Let's see. Okay, and let's mix up the timing on this foot a little bit more. Let's keep it held for about 2 more frames. And we'll let it go up a little bit higher. This can happen about 2 frames sooner. And hold for a little bit more of down. Higher here. Just trying to mix up the timing and a little bit of the posing on the feet. And this one hit about 3 frames sooner. Let's give me another 10 frames on the back end here too. Need to be about, take 67 at 65. And let's go 88. Let's go a little bit higher here, so there's a little bit of that bounce there. And let's look at the rotate X. Dead cat bounce there. Yeah, let's go ahead and see that. So we'll go 64, 74, 88. Let's go 72. Bring 87, 81. Just is a little too slow, so let's see that now. Okay, I like how that feels. Let's delete this and give me 94. Go to 78 there. So let's see, 64 to 72. That's what? 8 frames. Let's go. That's 9 frames. That would be 10 frames. So I slowly slow it down. Let's see. Only go till about there. Exponentially slow it down a little more. So let's see. That feels a little too dead, so let's see. So we'll just cut a little bit there. Okay, and let's look at the rotate X. Let's play that up a little bit more. Maybe a little bit less. That's pretty close. Okay. Let's have these hold for a little bit longer. I feel like we're probably milk that for at least another 3 frames. again. And again. Here we want to start dragging up. Up. And swing it back. Forward. Back again. Alright. So let's see. Like that. Maybe a little too much swing at the end. It's pretty close though. And let's look at the arm itself and we'll go. Down. Forward. And back again. So we get a little bit of recoil on the swing there. Maybe we could tone it down a little bit more. Maybe we can throw a little bit on the swing it back there and back. Okay. And let's see. I do feel like we might push these hips just a little bit back in our translate C. Just a little snip. A little bit more. Just try and keep the balance. Feels better. Alright, now let's look at the, actually let's approach that other arm now. Let's swing this one back here. And hit it there. I want to do a little bit of backswing before we go forward. Let's see how that feels. Let's go back to what we had before. 2 frames to hit. And go back with it here and forward. Swing back, swing forward, swing back. Goes too hard and too fast. Let's slow it down, do a little less. Should keep going. There should be another frame or so. Maybe even one more. Okay, let's look at the elbow, the forearm. I'll drag it back here. Overshoot a little bit there. Okay, let's try and clean that up a bit more. Feels like it has too much movement there, so let's flatten it out a little bit more. Okay, so up. Drag it a little bit more here. And break that a little bit more. Hold that till up there. One frame sooner. Takes too long to go from here to there. So let's shorten it by about 2 frames there. let's look at the hand here. Go ahead and drag it there. Sit there. Maybe go a frame sooner when it hits there. Drag it from that last position. Go down there. Hit that one. That one. Drag it back. Drag it. Drag it there. Swing it forward. Swing it back. Okay, let's go ahead and see that now. Should still probably swing there. It's so flat once it hits a certain point here. So let's look at the rotate Y. Really flats off at about here. There's something in there that I just don't like so much. So let's see, what is it? This is fine. And that's fine. So let's just delete everything in between just to make sure. And delay those two a frame. And delay this one a frame as well. Then from here to getting into there takes too long, so let's push that forward a frame. Kind of smacks into that, so let's go ahead and delete that. Okay. And I think I'll tone down the recoil on this arm towards the end here. Let's see. And tone down the rotate Y as well towards the end. It doesn't need to snap that far. Let's see. Yeah, I'll tone down that wrist as well. Keep the same idea, but it's just a little too busy. I think I need to put a little more back in the arm though. Yeah, this foot is going back too slow. Set that. let's do some finger stuff here. So let's grab all of the fingers there. Go ahead and just have a little bit of movement on them to begin with. Yeah, let's go ahead and spread that way. So we'll drag them here. I'll go ahead and do a little more curl here. Curl there. I'll go and set that. Even further there. Let's see. Curl in here. It's funny how each one kind of works differently. The middle finger definitely works differently than the other ones here. Let's see. Okay. Set that. Set that. We'll go a little bit further. Let's stretch out. We'll drag them a little bit here. Do a little bit of that there. A little bit more on the tip here. And then we'll go ahead and swing them back there. Spread them forward. Here. And then spread them back there a little bit. Let's see. Okay, gotta clean that up a little bit more. So let's look at the spread on those three here. Okay, and spread on this one. And spread on this one. Just try to clean that up a little bit more. Let's see. It should be hitting about here, so about 2 frames later for this one. Should go about. Let's see. I think we can hold this like a frame more. Between 58 and 59 here. Let's see. last one should be held a little bit higher. Let's look at the translate Y here, make sure we still have that going all right. Maybe push that up and down a little bit more. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at the other hand here. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of spread here, or drag it there. Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and set that, delete that one for a little bit longer, just so we get that more relaxed pose. We'll set that, go ahead and delete this. And then we'll do a little bit of spread again to drag it that way. And here, spread again to drag it back. And we'll hit this one here, like that. And then we'll go here, spread that way, and then swing back here. And swing forward there. And swing back a little bit more. Okay, let's take a look at that and see how I like it. Okay, now let's try and clean up just the spreads a little bit more here, because I feel like there's a little bit of time where they snap a little bit too much here. Okay, let's go ahead and see that now. I think it's like right there. Give me 2 more frames there. Let's key that. Let's overshoot it a little bit. Seems like I need another frame here. Okay, let's maybe hold that first one for about 2 more frames as well. So put one more frame here, one more frame on the other side of it. And maybe not 2 frames. Right, I think that works. Definitely could keep playing around with this for another hour or so, cleaning out and polishing stuff, but I think the idea works okay. So let's take a look back at where we started. We're looking at the beautiful work of Reynan Sanchez, and he said, I'm not really sure what goes in my head having those kinds of ideas, although it seems to me that it looks really cool, and I guess the whole concept is unique in some ways, so I give it a try and then end up creating something like this. And I think that's it's just wonderful, you know? It's talking about the process in very articulate terms about how sometimes you don't know where the ideas come from, and you just get that dose of inspiration and that dose of just, hey, this is the idea that I want to do, and it just like pours out of you, and you're not really sure everything about it. You've got a good concept for it, and that's why it's important to, you know, fill your mind with a lot of great influences, so you have great stuff to pull on in your subconscious as well. So that being said, I love you guys lots. I hope you like this one a little bit different. We've been doing kind of walks for the last couple days, so I figured it was time to try something. Now I'm seeing this. I'm seeing one other thing we might look at. Shouldn't be pushing forward that much on the rotate Y on this arm here. Should hold for about 2 more frames. Let's see. It's a little better. Just some crustiness in there. Let's see if we clean that up a little bit more. See what I mean? It just kind of holds funky there. So let's see. I think it should already be moving a decent amount there. So let's see. That's a little better. Just had a little bit of jerkiness to it, which is okay, but it was bugging me. So anyways, and that's a good thing about your animation. You should always try and keep a fresh eye so that you can look at it from different perspectives and everything too, and never be afraid to go back in and change stuff too. I love you guys lots. You're amazing. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I hope that you guys go off and create something wonderful of your own that's unique and amazing. And I think that'll do it for today. I'm getting to the rambly portion, so that usually means it's time to wrap it up. So that being said, I love you guys lots, and we will see you for some more animation tomorrow.